We started building bikes about 2.5 years ago in my garden shed, in my back garden. That was fine until my wife decided that wasn't good enough. So we started looking for a property to make this go somewhere else. People started to like what we were doing, and that really gave us a push into looking for a workshop space and really a commercial premises to do this full time. So Fellow Bicycle Company was born. It's something that I was doing as a kid, always been around bikes. It's been in my family. My uncle, my dad's brother, used to race. He was a great time trial racer actually. So I've always been around bikes, and actually looking back, it was something I used to do just in my spare time as a teenager, would just be take myself out around the country roads. Not long distances, you know, maybe 10 miles, but still you're out there on the bike. Then maybe about 5 years ago, I was given an old crappy mountain bike, and I decided that I was going to take it apart and rebuild it as a kind of vintage cruiser Dutch bike. Did that, fell in love with it, got lots of really good reports about it, and that's what really got me into single speed and fixed gear cycling, because I built that as a single speed bike, and realised then that cycling doesn't have to be complicated. A single speed bike is the perfect bike for city cycling, because you're really going short distances, you're not looking to pick up much speed, and it's simple more than anything. So that's really how I got into it. I had a few parts left over from doing that project and decided that I wanted to build another one straight away. One was never enough. So got to work on building my second bike, and that was a success too. After that, Patrick and John showed just as much interest as me, and we put our heads together and started buying old bikes off Gumtree, eBay, fixing them up to a safe and roadworthy standard, and selling them to people for very reasonable prices. Probably because we're all romantics at heart, and there's just something about that era of cycling. I mean, Patrick's grandfather, he was a road racer as well. My uncle's a road racer, and they were racing around the same era. And there's just something lovely about the steel frames that you just can't get away from. It's romantic. It's Eddie Merckx. It's racing till you die on a heavy bike. But more than that, it's about using history. I think that when we finish a bike, we know there's a story behind that. And more often than not, we know the story of the bike that we've built a new bike from. And there's just something really lovely about giving something old and tired and even dead, something like that, giving it new life and allowing it to be reborn into something brand new that people can get lots of use out of. It just got to the point where we couldn't not do it anymore. It's more than a business idea, it's a passion. We all ride fixed gear, and we all ride them long distances like idiots, and it was just something that we couldn't not do, and it's something that we felt that Belfast needs as well. You know, there's so much focus in Northern Ireland on cycling as a middle class sport and leisure activity, and there tends to be lesser focus on cycling as a form of transport to actually get you from A to B, which in a city, especially the most congested city in the UK, is the ideal form of transport. In a survey carried out by the British government, mind you, in 2010, they found that in distances under 1.5 miles, 90% of those journeys, a bicycle was quicker. So why not cycle? So it just got to the point for us that we had to do this, and we want to really inspire a culture of cycling. It's about almost creating a culture of simple cycling. So that's why we got into it. And really, if I'm honest, the making money part of it was secondary. It's a lovely bonus, and it is definitely something we strive for, but it's not the primary goal. Definitely we want to promote cycling as a culture. So obviously the Giro d'Italia is coming up in May. So we're going to use that really as a platform to promote what we do. We're hosting kind of various events that are yet to be confirmed, and that's more about kind of allowing people to see inside the world of cycling as a form of transport. I mean, we love the sport of cycling as well, don't get me wrong. We're also doing another long distance European cycle this year. We're going to cycle from Amsterdam to Berlin the first week of September, and that's kind of another 500-mile cycle on fixed gears across Europe. other things like that. We have done workshops, bike maintenance workshops for complete novices in the past, and that's about every man and woman and child even coming in and learning how to take care of their bike. So you don't have to go to a fancy bike shop and buy a really expensive bike. You can fix your bike and get it on the road, that bike that you've had for years and loved. So it's really about teaching people those simple things, and that's something we're going to do again. The Lord Mayor has been really interested. I mean, he's a big cycling buff, so he's shown us support on Twitter and all the rest of that. But to be honest, we've been fairly independent, and I think that's more out of choice. We haven't really pushed too many avenues. We haven't really needed to, but the kind of public support has been phenomenal. We've been way busier than we ever thought we would be. And people have been so kind in the things they say about us and in bringing us their custom. And it just shows that there is a real desire for something like Fellow out there. People want to be on the road. People don't want to throw away their bikes. People want to have them fixed. People want to recycle. No pun intended, but there is a real kind of support for us that we never thought we would have. I mean, kind of up to 1,000 Twitter followers, which isn't the best gauge of how well supported we are, but it is something, you know. And we're rushed off our feet, and we have been since the day NRA opened. We need local money going into local businesses, so that's flowing back into local communities again. We're a huge fan of the Ormeau Road because there are so many independent businesses up here, and we would be good friends with them all, whether it be the bars we drink in or where we buy our fruit and vegetables. We want to support local businesses. I think it's an incredibly important time for that. Where the problem lies is that you have big chains coming in and they can do things so much cheaper, and probably cheaper than we can do it. Big chains can do bike work cheaper than we can do it. But you lose that personal touch. You lose the money going back into the local economy, and you lose a sense of community, which for us is really important.